So, hello everyone, and welcome to the second video of this series where I document my journey to port my first 8-bit retro game that I developed for the ZX81 to the Commodore VIC-20. So, the first thing I did was to port my screen editor from the ZX81 to the VIC-20. First, because I need at least one piece of graphics, and also, again, as the warm-up to get used to the quirks and features of the VIC-20 and the Commodore BASIC compared to the Sinclair BASIC. So the basic idea is the same, pun not intended. So you move around with the cursor keys, and then you can type something and it will appear. And one thing that's different on the VIC-20 compared to the ZX81 is how the graphics characters are handled. So I can press Shift and stuff, and I'm getting certain graphics characters, and I can press Commodore or on this emulator Control and keys, and then I get different graphics characters. What I can also do, uh, and that's unlike for the ZX81, here is color. So that's why you see the function keys down there. So I need a couple of extra functions. One is for color. So if I press F1, then I cycle through the different colors. F3 inverts the character and its color. So it's a bit different how these things are handled. Then I have save and load, F5 and F6, because Sinclair Basic saves all variables when I save a program. So I had an array that kept all the contents of the screen. Commodore BASIC doesn't do that, so I had to invent my own file format, which is simple. So first byte is height, second byte is width of the image, and then 1 byte for the character and the second byte for the color, and that's it. And now I can load how the main chip will look like, and you're going now to be treated to the tape loading sound. But no worries, you got the taste, and now I put it into the background. I think we can use the loading time to reflect a bit on the main difference of BASIC. So I found this BASIC to be a bit more basic than the Sinclair BASIC, and that pun was intended. So I had to resort to pokes for some trivial things like positioning the cursor key, and there were actually different strategies posted online, different pokes, and some worked better than others. So that was a bit all over the place, and I didn't find it in the manual. The manuals were also a bit worse than what I had for the Sinclair Basic, and I also found it more difficult to find documentation. Whereas I had a very easy time finding extensive basic documentation for the ZX81. So I guess that speaks to the different audiences these computers were aimed at or were successful with. So where book publishers saw markets for. So this warm-up here with building the screen editor was very much needed, that I got these basics out of the way. So I can now, when I start working on the actual game, then focus on the more important things than the real fundamentals of where do I get the cursor where I want it to be. And here you see the ship being loaded. The 9 and 15 is the height and the width that I simply keep for my own as a record, that I know what to enter when I want to save this. So it looks a bit different compared to the ship on the ZX81 because I have a much wider character set, but this is sort of at scale compared to the image that I have in the Star Trek Technical Manual from 1975. So that's, unless I get a better inspiration, especially how to deal with the source section, going to be the main ship, which I'll have to rename. So it won't be the Sinclair, it will be the Victoria. And then I can do the reveal, at least, of the shifted graphics characters by pressing F8 so that I know what to type if I want to enter this in the game. So I will still hard code this in the game and not load the file from tape, because that's, I think, a bit too onerous just for one file. So pressing F8, and I have to specify from the top left, so 1 to 1 down to 9, 15. So that's why the number is there. and then you'll see all the characters being replaced by the keys I have to press together with Shift to get the respective graphics characters, which will be a huge help making sense of that. The other characters that you don't see here are the ones you get by pressing Commodore and a key, because the internal uh, tables for the screen codes, it's very easy to get from letters to the shifted graphics characters, but the other ones are all over the place, and I didn't bother to put all these things into that routine manually. I'm sure I can figure out which keys to press when the bulk is at least taken care of. And I think that's it. So I learned how the VIC-20 displays color, how the inverted characters are being displayed, how saving and loading works, and yeah, how to deal with if you have just 22 columns instead of 31. So everything will look a bit different, and the same applied to the ship. And now I feel reasonably well equipped to start porting the main game. And that's something I'll cover then in the next video. So I hope this was interesting, and thank you for watching.